WrestleMania 41 is officially in the books, and whether you loved it, hated it, or are still recovering from that one-match finish, there's one thing we all love to do after Mania: rank the entire card from bottom to top. This is every WrestleMania 41 match, ranked from worst to best. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more wrestling content. 14. Cody Rhodes vs. John Cena. From the start, this was clearly meant to be a slow burn showdown. Methodical pacing, a classic feeling out process, and room for both men to settle into their roles. But things took a strange turn fast. John Cena leaned fully into a heel role, dominating much of the match in a way that felt both unexpected and, frankly, jarring. The booking was confusing. Cody Rhodes kicked out of nearly every big move, to a borderline cartoonish degree. Yet he spent the bulk of the match getting worn down and barely fighting back. As the drama escalated, so did the chaos. The final stretch became pure overbooking. Travis Scott interfered. Cena tried every trick in the book to cheat his way to a 17th World Championship, and Cody refused to use the title belt when given the chance. A choice that made little sense in the heat of the moment. The pacing felt off, and the energy in the stadium reflected it. Rhodes, the supposed babyface, got showered in boos, while Cena, despite the low blows and underhanded tactics, was cheered like a hero. To make matters worse, the finish was anticlimactic. After all the drama, all the interference, and all the setup, it just ended. And the elephant in the room? The Rock. After injecting himself so heavily into this storyline, he was nowhere to be found. His absence loomed large, and it left the whole thing feeling incomplete. The match looked the part of a WrestleMania main event. It had the big fight feel, but between the off-putting crowd dynamics, the overbooked madness, the lack of real payoff, and that glaring no-show from The Rock, it simply didn't land. 13. The War Raiders vs. The New Day. This World Tag Team title match was solid in the ring. Well-paced, cleanly executed, and filled with big moments. The New Day leaned hard into their heel persona, working the crowd with confidence and control. The match built nicely, leading to a classic heel finish. Kofi Kingston holding down Eric's legs behind the ref's back to steal the win. Technically sound and creatively competent, no doubt, but emotionally, kinda flat. The crowd never truly bought in, and it showed. Most of that likely comes down to the lackluster build, which didn't give fans much to invest in. No real stakes, no fire. Just a decent match with nothing to elevate it beyond that. 12. AJ Styles vs. Logan Paul. On paper, this had potential. A flashy showman in Logan Paul taking on one of the smoothest veterans in the game. But in execution, it just never quite clicked. The match moved at a sluggish pace, with Logan transitioning awkwardly from spot to spot. It wasn't sloppy, just disjointed. That kind of rhythm doesn't mesh well with AJ Styles, who thrives on speed, flow, and intensity. Technically, nothing was offensively bad. They hit their marks and delivered a few cool moments, but it lacked urgency. The structure felt muddled, like it couldn't decide what kind of match it wanted to be. The crowd seemed unsure too, reacting mostly to the big spots while checking out during the quieter stretches. There was also a little added drama from the ongoing Karrion Kross and AJ Styles story, but it came off as filler, present but not impactful. In the end, this one landed somewhere in the middle. Not bad, not great, just a missed opportunity. 11. Gunther vs. Jey Uso. This had all the ingredients for a hard-hitting banger. Gunther, the ring general, taking on a red-hot Jey Uso in a high-stakes WrestleMania opener. But what we got instead was a match that never fully hit its stride. The opening stretch was slow, with a long feeling-out phase that didn't do much to hook the crowd. Things only really picked up once Jey connected with his signature splash. From there, the energy finally started to build. The second half was much stronger, with both men trading heavy shots and near falls that had the crowd biting on every close call. Jey's win was a cool moment, and the crowd popped big for it. But the finish, a sudden submission, felt rushed and unearned, especially in a match involving someone like Gunther, who's known for brutal, definitive endings. It didn't do much to protect him either. For a match with such an intense build, it lacked the physicality you'd expect. Even Gunther seemed dialed down. It wasn't bad by any means, just uneven. A decent opener, but one that could have, and should have, delivered way more. 10. Randy Orton vs. Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry showing up as Randy Orton's surprise opponent was a genuine WrestleMania moment. A great reveal that got a big reaction. The match, though, pretty bare bones. It was short, simple, and felt more like a live segment than a full-on match. The RKO that ended it was thunderous, and the crowd was all in for the finish, but there just wasn't much in between. The post-match helped a bit. Orton doing Hendry's signature pose was a fun touch that gave fans something memorable to take away, and with Kevin Owens out, WWE at least managed to squeeze a moment out of the situation. Still, outside the pop and the pose, the match itself didn't leave much of a mark. A cool surprise, but not a classic. 9. Rey Fenix versus El Grande Americano. This match saw Rey Fenix step in for the injured Rey Mysterio to face Chad Gable, or rather, El Grande Americano. It was a fun, high-energy bout that blended speed with strength. Fenix brought the lucha flair with crisp agility, sharp strikes, and some wild top rope moves. Meanwhile, Americano used his power advantage to toss Fenix around the ring and played it smart with some sneaky tactics. The metal plate hidden in his mask came into play, messing up Fenix's foot mid-match and later being the key to 2 brutal headbutts that sealed the win. It was a solid display of lucha-style wrestling, even if the crowd didn't seem fully locked in for the whole thing. 8. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. Becky Lynch's return at WrestleMania always had big moment written all over it, and pairing her with Lyra Valkyria to chase tag team gold made for a solid feel-good story. The match itself? Simple, but effective. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez controlled much of the action, isolating Valkyria for an extended beatdown that set up the inevitable Becky hot tag, and the crowd was more than ready for it. The structure didn't reinvent the wheel, but it worked. Liv and Raquel leaned into their heel rolls well, and the bigger spots landed with the audience. Still, it's hard to ignore the absence of Bayley. With her tied into the tag division storylines, her missing presence took some emotional weight out of the match. All things considered, it was a fine outing with a satisfying conclusion, even if it lacked a little depth in the storytelling department. 7. Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Jade Cargill and Naomi stepped into the ring at WrestleMania with some real bad blood, and it showed. The match had the right amount of animosity, with both women bringing intensity from start to finish. Cargill's power game was on full display. She had Naomi's number, repeatedly catching her out of the air and slamming her down with authority. The powerbomb and jaded finish were just the exclamation point on an assertive victory. From a technical standpoint, both women put in solid work, and while the crowd wasn't fully locked in for every moment, Cargill's impactful moveset ensured there were some great pops throughout. The match didn't reinvent the wheel, but it was a strong outing that solidified Cargill as a serious singles competitor in WWE, making a statement at one of the biggest stages possible. 6. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. This match carried a palpable edge, thanks in part to the real-life animosity between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, which bled into the action in all the right ways. There was a genuine sense of struggle, with both women trading stiff shots, trash talk, and adding extra impact to their moves. It felt raw and authentic, like 2 rivals trying to prove something. While the intensity was there, the execution wasn't always flawless. Some sequences felt off, and there were a few awkward moments that slowed the pace. But rather than take away from the match, it actually played into the tension between the two. The imperfections only made it feel more real, like these two were truly fighting to settle their differences. It wasn't a technical masterpiece, but it was gritty, hard-hitting, and personal, which made it one of the more compelling bouts on the card. 5. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. LA Knight and Jacob Fatu brought the heat at WrestleMania 41 in a hard-hitting, high-energy match for the United States Championship. From the start, both men threw their absolute hardest shots with some jaw-dropping moves, including massive top rope spots and near falls that had the crowd on the edge of their seats. A standout moment was the wild BFT reversal off a moonsault, which left fans believing an upset was brewing. As the match wore on, the energy continued to build, with both Knight and Fatu showcasing a rare combination of strength and agility, each pulling out feats of athleticism that kept the momentum strong. While the match didn't lean heavily into storytelling, the in-ring chemistry between the two men more than made up for it. The crowd's engagement only grew, making this one of the more thrilling contests of the night. Fatu's win, marking his first singles title, was a big moment, adding to his already impressive run. 4. Braun Breaker versus Dominic Mysterio versus Penta versus Finn Balor. The crowd went absolutely wild for this chaotic fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship. And it's no wonder why. Dominic Mysterio walking out as the winner created one of the most memorable WrestleMania moments of the night, but he wasn't the only one who looked strong. Braun Breaker dominated throughout, showcasing his incredible strength and speed, tossing his opponents around with ease, including a brutal spear through the announce table on Carlito. The storytelling elements were also well executed, particularly with the Judgment Day. Dominic made a shocking move early on, attacking his ally Finn Balor and ultimately pinning him to potentially end their partnership for good. The match wasn't flawless, but it delivered an action-packed, high-energy spectacle that had the fans invested from start to finish. It was one of those bouts where, despite a few rough edges, the fun factor made it one of the most enjoyable of the night. 3. Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. This was a brutal, hard-hitting street fight between two of the toughest men on the roster, and they certainly didn't hold back. Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest delivered a war, with the audience fully invested in the chaos unfolding. The match was packed with big spots that kept fans on the edge of their seats, like Priest's razor's edge through a table, McIntyre's Future Shock DDT onto steel steps, and a brutal old school reversed into a shove through tables on the outside. The violence was visceral, with each man looking to leave a lasting impression on the other. A statement claymore into a chair sealed McIntyre's win, but it was the authenticity of the match that really stood out. The strikes, the weapon shots, the slams, everything felt like it was designed to inflict pain, making the whole thing feel like a genuine fight. It was ugly in places, but in a way that made it feel all the more real, elevating the intensity of the rivalry. 2. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. The main event lived up to every bit of the hype, delivering a massive high-stakes battle between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. It was everything you could want from a main event. Fantastic wrestling, huge moves, intense brawling, and superb storytelling that tied into the rich histories of all three men. Every finishing move, submission exchange, and near fall had the crowd on their feet, and the unpredictable nature of the match kept everyone on edge. But it wasn't just the physical action that made it unforgettable. Paul Heyman's shocking betrayal, turning on both Punk and Reigns to align with Rollins, gave the match a jaw-dropping twist and sealed Seth Rollins' shocking victory. The character work from all three competitors was top-notch, while the in-ring action, though not flawless, was of the highest caliber. What truly made this match stand out was its storytelling, which tied together the past, present, and future of WWE's biggest stars. 1. Io Sky vs. Rhea, Ripley vs. Bianca Belair. Sunday kicked off with a bang. The action was relentless, with each woman involved in the match at nearly every moment. While some sequences might have felt a bit over-choreographed, the match was mostly a thing of beauty, showcasing seamless offense, fluid sequences, and world-class execution from three of WWE's top women. There wasn't as much storytelling compared to other matches on the card, but the simmering animosity between Belair and Ripley added some nice drama. Their rivalry proved to be their downfall, as both overlooked the quiet but dangerous threat in the genius of the Sky. In a career-defining moment, Sky capitalized on their missteps and secured the biggest win of her career. The crowd was locked in the entire time, giving these women the electric atmosphere they deserved for a truly unforgettable opener, one of the best WrestleMania openers of all time. This could have main evented either night. Those are my rankings for this year's WrestleMania. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more wrestling content. Thanks for watching!